Welcome to Capital Discussions and our first OptionVue Education series or webinar with James Hogan from OptionVue. Before we get started, a quick disclaimer that Capital Discussions is not a broker-dealer or an investment advisor. This presentation is for educational purposes only. We don't know your situation and have no way of knowing what level of risk is appropriate for you. Not making any specific trade recommendations. The risk of loss in trading options can be substantial, so please be aware of all of your risks prior to placing any trades. Hypothetical computer-simulated trades are believed to be accurately represented. However, actual profit or loss may vary due to market factors such as liquidity, slippage, and commissions. So with this out of the way, this is an educational webinar. And like I said, this is the first OptionVue Education Series webinar. So welcome, James, from OptionVue for kicking this off. So I'm going to change the presenter over to you, and you've got the court, as it were.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I think I go up to share up here, and then, is that correct? To share my screen, there it is, monitor 1, perfect.
Yep, I see it starting to come up.
Okay, good deal. This is my OptionVue here. Glad to be here on Capital Discussions for the first time. I think we're going to keep on doing these and rotate through different people here at OptionVue over the next, every month. We're going to have someone new on. So I'm just going to do a quick little walkthrough of some basic things in OptionVue to start off with. I know there's going to be a lot of questions, but for those people that don't have OptionVue, I just kind of wanted to share that this opening screen here is your quotes display. You can set this up however you want to. Each of these little bars here, rows across the screen, represent a group that I've created here. Okay, you can have as many groups as you want to, and then you'll see these tabs down at the very bottom. These tabs are different quotes displays that you can have set up. I have like a watch list. I have my futures, ETF sectors, different volatility, things that I like to keep an eye on, currencies. So you can set these up and create them and delete them, as you like. You can also create these columns however you want to as well. This is a newer one, earn date. It's nice to know when earnings are coming out, and that'll be listed here. You have the date and after the market close or before the market opens. And to do that, you could just highlight a column, and you can hit the delete key to get rid of it, or hit the insert key to create one, and then just right-click on it, and you can click, go through these column headings, decide which one you want to do. Okay. Same thing on the left-hand side here. You can put in symbols however you want to. You can delete key on your keyboard or insert, and then just type in. Got a quick question already. Earnings date. This will not automatically come in. You actually have to create this column, but yes, these dates will come in automatically, whether you're using whatever data source you're using. They will come in here. It's actually something that we provide every time you log into OptionVue. These will get updated, and they'll get updated a little sooner. You're going to see a lot of things that pass. Well, a lot of the earnings actual dates don't come out, until we get a little bit closer to the next earnings season, so those will be updated. So the other thing I wanted to talk about briefly is how to create a new account in OptionVue. When a lot of times people will come into OptionVue and, maybe they want to back test a strategy, or they're going to do some homework with, some kind of program they're doing. Got a lot of people coming in from John Locke doing his M3. What you would do is you create a new account. You could name it whatever you want to. Let's just say we were doing this. Don't worry about any of these for now. You would hit OK. When do you want to start this account? And then you would put the date in when you want to start your back test, if you were going to do some back testing. So you could say 8/15 to 09 if you wanted to. Start an amount, whatever you want to do here. You can kind of change these things too as you get going, but this is just kind of a demo I'm showing you here. So I'm going to start this account. OK, new account started. There it is right there, and you can see I have, you can create an unlimited number of accounts in OptionVue. Okay, so I did that. This is an important thing down here. There's a default that usually comes up with these commissions. Generally what I'll do is I actually kind of zero them out. I know on average what I'm going to pay for commissions, and if I convert a trade over, which I'll show you in a second, I'll go in and put my own commissions in. This is something that I don't do it, but anybody trading the M3 or some other strategies that they're rolling consistently and always have something on, they'll want to include, you want GLs to be included in previously realized GLs. So this way you can see your strategy and how it's performing in your risk graph and in the matrix summary section going forward. So that's an important one to check off. So let's go ahead and jump into something here real quick. Now I'm going to double click on this and it'll bring me into an options chain. Okay, and you can see up here, you'll always be able to see what account you're in. Okay, so I am going to put something on here. It doesn't really mean anything, just so you know. But just so I can show you how to convert a trade, so this is my trade. I have it on here. You can see what the requirements would be here. What I would do now is I would convert the trade. And you can see here it moves from this trade column over to the existing position column. Okay. You can now see this trade in the transaction log. Only when a trade is converted does it go over to the transaction log. Okay. So if you had multiple butterflies on, let me just go ahead and, this is the R column. We call this the recon field. I'm going to type an A in here so we can see this. And then I'm just going to put another one on down here just so I can demonstrate this. Okay, now I'll convert this one. Okay, so now that one's over there. I'm going to go to the T log and I'm going to give this one a letter as well. Now, as you close these, you can reuse these symbols over and over again. So say you close this position and, you came out to, and you rolled out to this one and named it B if you wanted to, and then you can reuse the symbols after the trade's been closed. Okay, so there's never going to be any running out of a particular letter or number. You can use, all the letters of the alphabet are single-digit numbers here. Okay. So now that I've created these, it's kind of nice because, you're going to be able to click on status and you'll be able to see those are the two, you separated those positions, so they're not going to be looked at together. You can look at them all together here if you want to, and then you could analyze them all together here. Or you can come in here in this drop-down box and you can select A, and now I'm just looking at my A trade, or I can look at B. Okay, and you can analyze those separately if you want to. Okay, now OptionVue will know once you do the opposite or closing transaction, it'll know that, so for instance, let's say I'm on B and I want to just close this trade out, I could come over here and click this button, it'll put the opposite trade in for me there. Okay, or you can come over here and clear those trades. Okay, say now, there was another chat. Let me go to the chat box and see if I can see what the questions are. Are we going to have a filter option by class? Would be nice. Someone's asking if there's going to be a filter option by class. Yeah, we've gotten that request before. It's in the suggestion box, so hopefully we will have that soon. And I'm gonna jot down some notes as well, just so you guys know when I get questions so that I can, ask programming about them. So there's some, other individuals that are doing, really intense back testing and things like that. And one of the things I got a question about recently was, say they wanted to, add some kind of a call to this position or something like that. And they would be switching between backtesting accounts. Now, the thing to remember is that anytime you have a trade in this column, it's going to carry over to whatever account you're looking at. If you jumped over to, your M3 backtest number 4, and you have a trade in the trade column, it's going to stay there. Okay, it stays with the matrix. Now, if you switch accounts, these positions will be gone, but the existing trade that you have in the columns will always be there. So that can kind of throw you off if you're not aware of that. Okay. The other thing you can do is, let's say you were going to, roll this out or something like that, or you were going to, add something out here. What you can always do is you can analyze, I can highlight this right here, and I can say I want to analyze that. Okay. I can unhighlight it. You can analyze just September now. Okay. Let's say I can hold down the Control key. So now that I'm highlighted on both of these, and you can analyze those together. Okay. The other thing you can do is this E, T, and B. E stands for existing position, which is in the existing column here. You can highlight the T, which is just the trade. So now I'm just looking at this potential trade that I'm looking at, or you can do both. So there's a number of ways that you can start. You can analyze positions and potential positions, two different existing positions together if you want to. And then when you start analyzing them, let me go back to A here. And I'm on both, so I just want to look at the existing. Let me analyze this one. Now I'm going to analyze my B trade. And now I can superimpose the two of them over each other if you want to. Okay, so a ton of different ways that you can, use OptionVue to analyze existing positions and different existing positions in the same underlying, give them each their own recon code so that you can separate them and look at them individually. Okay, I've been using OptionVue for so long. I always use OptionVue this way, and there is another way you can do it. What you need to do is restore down your matrix, and you can do that with this button here. Sometimes it'll be next to help. Sometimes it's over here. I'm restoring this down, and then you can, kind of resize it here. And then you can hit this button here, and this will open up our side-by-side analysis. Okay, and then, as you make changes here, you can actually click on different things, and you can see it. Instead of having to go from the matrix back to the graph, back and forth again, you can look at things this way. Okay. You can zoom out, you can zoom in this way. You can change the dates as well. By right-clicking here, you can actually change what particular day you're looking at. And then you can change the number of lines you're looking at, too, up in this upper left-hand corner. Okay. A lot of people, when they first get OptionVue, they'll ask me about these colors. They don't. When you first get OptionVue, it's like this, just blank. This S button actually brings in the standard deviations. This pinkish color will be the first standard deviation, and then the blue will be the second. And then when you're getting out into the third, when you're using when you're out into the white there. This is one of my favorite column headings in the matrix, actually, and you can always come up to, before we get into that, I'll take a minute to talk about some settings. If we go to default models up here under view in the upper left-hand corner, this is where you're going to set up the default. So whenever you open up an option chain, these models are going to come into play here unless you come over to the model button. In this Russell, for instance, you can see this very similar screen here. You can customize each underlined matrix this way, but you can also set up a default. Okay, slippage is set to moderate here, is what I have, and what this does is it takes into account a little bit of slippage, which means that you're not going to get the pure market price, and this is how we calculate the market price. 10 times the bid plus 10 times the ask plus the last divided by 21. I think some of the other brokerages might use, not as smooth of an average. Might want to use one of these, but this is how we're calculating the market price, basically an average of the bid and the ask. And then when we take a look at slippage, slippage means, if you're buying, you're going to get a little bit closer to the ask than the midpoint. Okay, you can change slippage to none. If you think you're going to be able to get the market price. I like to look at conservative, and then I fight for a better price, of course. But just so you know, when you look at slippage and moderate, and then you go to analyze a trade, your lines might be a little bit lower than what you would anticipate. Well, that's because OptionVue is taking into consideration that you're going to take a little bit of a hit getting into the trade and out of the trade as well. Okay, so that's what slippage is. You can include commissions here if you want to. That's only if you have something defined for commissions, like we did when we went to that, created the account. I had 0 commissions, so that doesn't apply here. We've got our true delta here, using true theta. Yates model is a variation, a very slight variation of the Black-Scholes. It takes into account the possibility of being exercised early, an American-style option. So this is something that I got a question about earlier today, and someone wanted me to mention. What we designed this for, including using combined call-put skews, was for underlines that are not trading a lot of options. For instance, if you had something that is trading maybe in the $6 range, and there's only 4 strikes on the calls and 4 strikes on the puts that are actively trading, we will combine the call and put skews just to get more data to create a viable model to use for the theoretical pricing. Okay. A lot of times you'll see in other videos that we've done that we say, don't include that if you're trading the indexes, because there is so much information and trading volume out there that we've got nice modeling going on without it. But if you are back testing John Locke's M3, he uses this use combined call put skew. He's got that checked off, and I believe he trades with it on. So you're going to get similar results in the back testing if you use that. But that, I just wanted to give an explanation of why that was created. Okay, so that was under View Default Models. The other one you can look at is Default Auto Strike. And this is, so whenever you open up Options Chain, this is going to define what is pulled as far as quotes here. I have a small range of in-the-money stuff. I don't really do a lot of in-the-money trading. I like to have a large extent of out-of-the-monies. Okay, and everyday OptionVue looks at where the at-the-money is and creates this range accordingly. I like to display all strikes. Displaying natural strikes intervals, what this will do is it will, kind of weed out a lot of strikes that might not be trading. Like, for instance, as this comes closer into the money, these strikes will trade. Okay, so this comes more into play. I mean, the Russell has weeklies. It comes more into play if you're looking at things, like that don't have a lot of that don't have weeklies, perhaps. But I just like to see everything that's trading out there. That's why I have display all strikes. And then you can, widen out the actual intervals you're looking at if you want to do that as well. This is include weeklies if available. This is important if you want to open up an option chain on something and see if there's weeklies. If there's not weeklies, they won't be there. Okay. One last thing I want to talk about under View here is the default matrix format. Okay, and this is where you can set up 3 different defaults. And you can also have defaults with this format button specifically for the underline. So this is a default. So if I came in here, I have some defaults set up here. I like a 1x5. Okay, and then I can click on my number 2. This is my number 2 set up for the Russell here. Okay, I can go back to my number 1, which is what we were looking at before. I got another question up here that I want to address before I move further. 1 second here. Where does OptionVue show prices of butterflies based on model parameters? So for instance, someone's asking me what the price of the butterfly would be. So this would be, okay, so this is the summary section. We're looking at an existing position here. What you would do, let me just model something else over here in the weeklies real quick. And this is what I do. So, I mean, a lot of times people aren't going to be doing one lot butterflies, but this is what I'll do. So, I'll look at this, analyze it. What I can analyze it is, I'm on E, So I'm going to click on T to look at the trade. What I'll analyze this, okay? And what you can do is you can come over down here to the D button, okay? And this is what OptionVue is estimating you'd be able to get in this butterfly at. This at price is taken into account whatever slippage you have set up. Okay, that's one way to look at how it's being priced. Another way that I will do it, and this is how I do it if I was to put a trade on, I would come over here, and I would go to the spread window, and I would actually come in here. I just highlighted that. I'm selling two of them. Come in here, buying one of these, and buying one of these. And it doesn't matter what lot size you're doing on this butterfly because you're still going to pay the same price, just that how many times. So now you can see what the market price is, what the last trade was at, what this butterfly is, what the bid and ask for this is. And that'll give me an idea of where I'm going to start trying to get in on this. Okay. So good question there. I'm going to clear that out. Okay. One of my theoretical price. Now I'm going to right-click on this column heading. And theoretical price. This is one of my favorite columns to use. This is all data coming in. This kind of has to do with what you paid, what your commission was, where your existing position is. Remember, at price always takes into account the slippage. So OptionVue uses at price to say, okay, this is what you're going to get out at if you're using slippage. Theoretical price. These are all kind of our theoretical price information. Your Greeks are always in the last column here. But I really like this column, and the reason is I have my theoretical price here. So, you can see where things are trading right now. Based on the modeling, the market price is 505. Theoretical price is 522. Okay? Looks like this is undervalued right now. What I can do is I can say, come over here to this percent OU, and it does the calculation for you. It's basically, taking the difference of the theoretical price and the market price and showing you whether this current market price is undervalued by how much or overvalued. Any type of spreads that you're doing or any time you're trying to get into a trade, it's going to give you a little bit of an edge if you can get a little bit, sell high and buy low, that kind of a thing. So it also, brings your attention, your eye to it right away, so you can see if there's some mispricing going on. Okay, so that's percent OU. The difference is just telling you the difference from the theoretical price and the market price. But these are all little kind of variations of calculations, just giving you the same information, showing you the difference between the market price and theoretical price. How much does the underlying have to move in order for this option to double in price? That's what that means. Okay. These are some favorite ones. This isn't kind of newer. I think everything's new. I've been here at OptionVue for about 5.5 years now. But this wasn't here. This is kind of a newer feature. And what it does is it runs a Monte Carlo-based probability calculator against all the strikes. And when you select that parameter, this button comes up, and when you hit it, it's going to run, and it's going to say this has to do with the probability of this strike being touched, not necessarily finishing above or below, but being touched by expiration. Okay, a lot of people use delta, as for a probability. Number or estimate to use. This is just another way to look at a probability calculation here. I got another question here. Let's see what that one was. What volatility number was used to calculate theoretical price, historical volatility? Actually, we're using our variable model right now. Let's see how I can explain that best. Let's go back to the theoretical price. Okay, so down here in the lower right-hand corner, you can see we're using our variable one-day model. Okay, so that's and you can switch between model types down here. Okay, you can left click on this. It's always important, and I've run into this a little bit lately, is that, I'll come in, someone says something's not modeling accurately in OptionVue, what's going on, and I'll be looking, and all of a sudden I look in the lower right-hand corner, and they'll be on EIOIO. This is a very common model used by a lot of the brokerages. Very important to be on the variable model there. Make sure it says that. So we're using our variable model for the calculation of theoretical prices. Okay, these standard deviations are based on our historical volatility, or what we call statistical volatility. Okay, pretty popular it is the historical volatility information that we have. For instance, if I pull up a price chart of the Russell, not only have we gotten data going back in all the U.S. exchanges back to January of 2001, but if they were trading options, we've got the volatility information as well, and I can superimpose the volatility chart over this. Okay, and left-clicking anywhere here in the price chart brings up what we call this wand, and you can see down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see where my SV is and where my IV is on any particular day. Okay. What these numbers mean here in these kind of little brackets is this says that on this, based on the life of this chart, and let's see how far back my Russell chart goes, back to 2003, based on the life of my chart here, statistical volatility is currently in the 74th percentile, and IV is in the 27th percentile. Okay. Then you can see that's what these brackets mean down here on this particular day, where these levels were at. Okay. You can also come down here and select this little V button in the lower left-hand corner. That's going to show you, on average, where statistical volatility has been and implied volatility has been. Okay. As you can see here, we often say this over here, is that, the Russell's chronically overvalued, which is why it's good for selling premium. I've been cruising right along here, so if anybody wants me to zero in on something specific, just let me know. I've been going for about a half an hour here, and I had talked to Tom earlier and said, yeah, I'll do that. And if someone wants me to zero in on something else or talk about a different feature, just let me know. But otherwise, I'll keep going here.
One thing I liked on the default models, the little A symbol. You didn't really talk about that, but that can push that setting to all your assets.
Correct. Yeah. So if you've made changes to other things, as you've had OptionVue and you want to go back to a specific setting, you can just come over here and click on this A, and it'll do that for everything. Same thing under default models as well. You can select the A to just say, hey, go out there and whatever's been changed, override it with this new setting. Yeah, that is a good one too. Let's see here. This is kind of something you can take a look at as well. I'll show you guys something else here. If you wanted to see what's coming out with earnings, this is kind of a quick earnings search that we have. And again, let me show you. I clicked on this little E button up here, and I clicked on my earnings search, and you can say I want to see things coming out within this amount of time. Okay, and you can say select all that are optionable, exclude price. You can exclude ones that are priced less than this. And DVO, for anybody that wants to know, stands for daily value, dollar volume of options traded. It's a 5-day average, and it's in terms of thousands. So this would mean exclude stocks that are trading less than $200,000 on average on a 5-day average. Okay. There were some other questions coming up here. I think it was...
Oh, Curtis Smith seeing the aggregate of a multi-like position. I think that's using the spread button.
Yeah, exactly. That's using the spread button. I'll demonstrate that again really quick here. Let's just say, do something simple here and just do a credit spread. Okay, so we're looking at this one. What I would do is, you're not going to put your order in for what the the whole trade is you would actually come in and you're going to, buy it as, put in a price for a one lot and then say how many of those you want. So what I would do is highlight that. I'm going to hit that once, minus show spread. And it combines all the Greeks and everything for you. Okay.
And then George is asking the pros and cons of using a broker data feed versus the OptionVue data feed.
Sure, and I've gotten some mixed reviews on that lately. I've got some people that are actually, might have started out with the broker quote feed, meaning they have the essentials package where they have BackTrader and then they're tying in either to Thinkorswim or Interactive Brokers. We also tie into eSignal. Not a lot of people do that. But some people are coming over and they're doing a little, and if they want to, I'll say I'll turn you on for a week of QuoteVue so you can compare the two and see if there's a difference, because there's a significant cost difference in doing that. It's going to be, at least double the cost to switch over to QuoteVue, and that's just because we have it's a big expense for us to provide that data, because we're actually subscribing ourselves to supply it to you. So, and there's exchange fees involved. So some people love it using the broker quotes, using Thinkorswim. They think it's great. They haven't any problems. Other people do have some problems and want to switch over to ours. So really haven't, I've experimented with both myself, and sometimes I think TOS is better personally, but yeah, it's a preference thing. It's definitely going to save you money being able to go with using the broker feed. But if anybody, has been doing that for a while and would like to see what QuoteVue looks like and if it can give you an edge and give you faster quotes, try it out. You can switch back and forth. It's really easy. If you had QuoteVue, I'm going to right-click on this up here. I have QuoteVue. If I had my Thinkorswim open right now, I could easily switch over and go with my TOS feed. So other than that, though, the same data that's coming in. We're getting, the bid-ask, last volume, open interest information, same that we're getting that we're supplying with QuoteVue. So some people will think that the modeling is going to be different. I get that question a lot. Well, all the data that comes in, bid-ask last on the option prices is creating the model. That's in OptionVue. So as long as the data is coming in, all the modeling is done once the data gets to OptionVue.
And Jim Clemens is asking, what are the hardware requirements for OptionVue?
OptionVue is Windows-based. I get that a lot. A lot of people with Macs come over, or they have OptionVue on their PC. I got this question today. Actually, is they have OptionVues on their Window machines, and they say they're going on a trip and want to take OptionVue on their Mac. Well, you're going to have to buy Windows and run an emulator. I think there might be some free emulators out there. Popular one is Parallels. But usually you're going to have to spend a little bit of money to get those things on your Mac, and the tech guys over here can help you do that. But the requirements, as far as how much the faster computer you have is going to be better, because you're going to be able to get your data into OptionVue faster, that kind of a thing. But other than that, OptionVue does not require a lot of memory or anything like that. Just Windows.
I know we're talking about data. George asks, is the analysis real-time, or do you have to refresh the data?
It's real-time. If you're tied into your Thinkorswim platform or you're using QuoteVue, it's real-time, and that's what I'm in right now. But, some people that might not have an account with Thinkorswim right now, or with any of the other brokers we work with, or they don't want QuoteVue right now, you can always use BackTrader as a data source if you're getting started. It's an inexpensive way to, just get delayed data and do some back testing. I suspended my quotes here. Okay, so now I'm kind of frozen in time, so I can show people how they would go into BackTrader. And what you would do is go to View at the top left here, and then you would, sorry, not View, you go to Net View, and then go to BackTrader, and this BackTrader window will pop up. I can hit this D button on the right, and it's going to pull in the last available quote that we have. It's every half an hour. So if you were using BackTrader as a data source, you would update this every half an hour. Okay, so basically, in the next half an hour, I'm in Chicago, so at 2 o'clock here, I'd be able to hit this button and pull in 130 quotes. And you can see that I always have a timestamp here, even if I'm in real time, just so I can verify that I'm looking at a really up-to-date quote, or if I'm in BackTrader, what time I'm looking at.
And is it relevant what the server is set to, like NV1, 2, 3?
Not right now. There's actually a due data feed that they're working on that's going to supposedly be better than what we're at right now. I think one of the net views right now is running on that one, but it really should not matter at this point. No.
And Skip Stone mentioned that it runs fine on VirtualBox, I assume on a Mac, and I've run OptionVue with parallels on a Mac in the past just fine.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people that I would say there at least 20% of the people using OptionVue are running on a Mac, and there's really no problems doing so that I've heard of either. So yes, a lot of people don't want to run Windows. We get a lot of people that shy away from OptionVue because they only want to run something that will run in a Windows and not a Windows, a Mac environment. So, but a lot of people are doing it just fine.
And then PJ asked, how do you delete instruments and go in and just keep the instruments he wants to trade?
Sure. I mean, absolutely. Yeah, you can just highlight a symbol anytime. You can actually delete an entire, if I right-click in here and say delete this tab, this whole tab and all my information in here will be gone. So you could do that, and then you could just say insert a tab and just say I want to look at currencies. And that tab already exists, of course. So then you could come in here, and then you could, just put whatever you want into a whole new quotes display here. And I'll create a new one just because I like to do this sometimes. Insert tab. Okay, and say, here's my test tab. Okay, and now now you can just, insert as many as, I'm just hitting the insert button there. Then you can type in whatever symbols you want to. What I will often recommend people do is go to survey and say you want to pick the top 100 greatest dollar volume of options traded, sort them based on that. I want to look at currencies. Okay. I'm just going to put a 1 in here just to have something in there and hit go. And, it pulls them up right away. I highlight that. I'll hold down the shift key. Insert. And there they are right there, ready to go. You can delete them out as much as you want to. This is a kind of a nice feature. The survey, we'll talk about that for a second, this is basically pulling information from our volatility charts and our price charts combined. So what a lot of people will do is if they want to look for things that have, a high IV percentile right now, and I want to sort them based on the greatest dollar volume options traded. You can set this DVO, which I really don't need to do right now because of what I'm searching for, but let's just say I want to make sure that $100,000 worth of options traded on a regular basis. The minimum price of the underlying is trading at $50. This means that it's got a minimum history, meaning it's traded options for at least a year, and the percentile uses 2 years. So if I was looking at highest IV percentile, this means that I want that percentile to be the highest relative to the last 2 years. Okay, and I'm going to go stocks, hit go. Boom, it pulled them in that fast. You can come in here and just say I want to look at I just want to pull the first top 20 over. I'm going to insert those over. You can see that it all populated right here. Key thing to look at when you're doing stuff based on, or scans based on IV, is to know when these things are happening, because it's going to play a big part in why those are coming up on the high IV list. Okay, things like this would be good to look at because earnings have passed already, but watch out for Walmart, watch out for Lowe's. I saw watch out for Home Depot. Those got earnings coming out this week. And then, so I created this little watch list here, and then I can come over here, I can right-click on it, and just as easily I can get rid of that whole list I created.
And then for deleting individual asset files, you just right-click on the name and click the button to delete it.
Correct, yeah. As far as deleting, asset files, a lot of this is a good, if you want to get rid of something, you could just highlight the symbol right there and delete it with the delete key. You could hold it down and it'll delete it, extremely fast. Insert button, you can type it right back in. The delete asset file, and I'm going to right-click on Priceline here. Sometimes what will happen in OptionVue, and this is usually fixes most of the problems that some people will have, sometimes they'll call in and say, my modeling's really messed up, something's not right. Basically what this does is if I hit delete asset file, it asks you, do you really want to delete the asset file for Priceline? Yes, I do, and what it's going to do is then I could then come in here, it's going to say starting a new asset file. All it does is deletes all of the information that's in the matrix or what's been saved in there and says, please go get me fresh data, and it'll do that. It'll just pull in, fresh quotes for you. Just kind of a little tip if something gets stuck. Usually, half the time, before I have to send someone over to tech support if they really need help, I'll say, why don't you just right-click on the symbol, delete the asset file, and have OptionVue, repopulate that matrix for you, and 80% of the time, 90% of the time, it fixes the problem they had.
George asks, what are the resources to go to for, independent or in-depth learning of OptionVue?
Yeah, if you take advantage of me or Jeff that are here in the office, we have some really nice built-in software. Basically, you would come up to help if you were talking to us and say, open remote support, and then Jeff or myself can look over your shoulder, see what you're stuck on, or if you want us to go in depth with you and answer your questions and look at some trades with you. Highly recommend that. Otherwise, what you can do is you can go to OptionVue and OptionVue.com here, and you click on the support tab. And we've got, these different, this is our online help. This is basically our OptionVue manual online. You can actually search for certain topics there. This helpful how-to videos here will take you to where all of our webcasts that we've done in the past are listed here. If you click on OptionVue, OptionVue Essentials, you can actually, click to a certain person, but if I click on those, then it's going to list all of them out. It's going to talk about all these different things that we focus on with OptionVue. Okay. Here's one I did, just a general walkthrough, probably about an hour long on that one. Here I talk about the VXX tools that are in OptionVue, and all of us kind of go through and have created all these videos to kind of zero in on kind of the hot topics at the time. This is our looking at the side-by-side analysis there. Ken is, I usually send these videos out to people that are really interested in back testing. Ken Dole has two videos, and you can come up here, click on Ken Dole, and these two back trader videos by Ken go into depth on how to back test, and it really helps people out a lot. Okay, so those are the essentials. You can also come here and go to the how-tos. These are real short videos done by guys in tech support. How to set up OptionVue on Google Drive or Dropbox, so that whenever if you have OptionVue on multiple computers, as soon as you open up the other one, you're going to be in sync with where you left off on, say, your work PC, and then you went home. You're going to, be in sync from where you left off earlier in the day. How to set up OptionVue for use with interactive brokers quotes. How to use OptionVue to set up Thinkorswim quotes. So all really helpful stuff. Like I said, these videos are real short. They just cover that very specific setting or topic. But
while you're on this page, Tim asked, can you install the software on two computers and keep them are the tabs cloud-based so they stay the same between the installations?
Yeah, it's not cloud-based. It's locally stored, which is why we have these little, what people will do is they'll use Dropbox or use Google Drive, or, the kind of older way that people do it, and a lot of people still do it, is they'll use like a thumb drive. where there's only a couple, like 2 or 3 folders you would need in OptionVue to drop on a thumb drive and then drop back into your, whatever new device you got on to replace the existing file. So any trades that you did, any changes you made in the quotes display, those would all be in sync. You could do that on a thumb drive. But yeah, let me go back to the how-tos. This is the video here. If I click on this one, Jeremy did this one on how to set up Google Drive Dropbox so that you can sync OptionVue on multiple computers.
And Paul says he uses Dropbox for live trades and it works well. So I think that answers Tim's question.
Yeah.
Okay, and PJ had a couple of questions. How does he locate options with maximum extrinsic value? While we're still on the multiple computers, Rick asked, why place the execution file in Dropbox? I think the execution file is on your local computer, and the record-keeping files and archives are in Dropbox.
Exactly right. Yep, and I mean, I really haven't spent a lot of time setting this up myself, so I mean, the tech guys are extremely familiar. If anybody needs any help with this, Dave or Ken here would be happy to help you out.
Oh, Rick said the executable in Dropbox. I think it would work both ways, but it'd probably work better if the executable was local.
Yeah, I actually don't use it personally. So, but like I said again, there's a lot of people doing it. So, if anybody wants to set it up or wants help with it, tech support over here would be happy.
George says, can OptionVue execute orders to multiple accounts of different brokers?
OptionVue currently, there's only one broker right now where you can actually send orders to, and that's called Tradier. And you can find out more about Tradier under Trading Partners at OptionVue.com. What people are doing is if they have an account with Interactive Brokers, they're importing their trade log, usually into Excel and then into OptionVue's T-log. There's actually a TOS import feature in the T-log. So if you have your account open with TOS, you could actually highlight this button and say import my trades from TOS. The way I trade, I actually do most of my trading right now through Options Express. I haven't actually done it much with them lately, but Options House I've been using. It was formerly Trade Monster. And what I do is I put my trades on an OptionVue. I convert them once I'm filled over at Options House, and I come in here and I say, okay, I got this one for $12.23. I paid $6 in commissions for this whole butterfly. I didn't get $19.39 on this. I actually paid $19.41 or whatever it is. Sold it for $19.41. Enter. Boom. So that's what I do. I actually come in here and manually put in what I got filled at because it's just easy and quick for me to do it that way. But like I said, a lot of people, for instance, if they want to come in and they want to be able to do some analysis with their entire portfolio over the past year at Thinkorswim, you can totally do that in the T-log and just say, come over here and import it. But OptionVue is very Excel-friendly as far as importing and exporting data. So I know we have a couple of really nice write-ups as far as from tech support on that I could email to anybody that wants to see that.
Okay, I guess we can get back to PJ's question about how does he find options with maximum extrinsic value.
I don't know, Tom, how would you answer that one?
I'd probably go into a matrix and just look at how much time premium the options have.
Yeah, I mean, you do. You can have that. I can right-click on this column heading here, and there's a T premium button right there. So that's the time premium that are in these options. Okay, and you can do that for any underline here. You can see we're way out of the money here, and that they're so far out of the money, and the probability of them being touched is so small that most of it's going to be time premium. Well, anything's going to be all time premium out there.
It's going to be at the money anyway, so
right.
If you just go at, you're gonna hit the right one.
Right. Another thing you could do, and this kind of has to do with the, another survey thing is if you were looking at, I know PJ is looking at currencies, so, there's not a ton of currencies that you'd have to go through to try to find some scenarios. I mean, you could come in here, highlight this, and anybody can do this kind of a thing with any of the equities or results that came up in a scan. But you can then click on the price chart, and you can click on the implied volatility chart. And with the currencies, it's just they don't have a ton of volatility in them usually. But you can always, this is what I wanted to show, is the next, you can scroll through that list and see where the IV is now. This is the Australian dollar, okay? I can go next, and it's going to go to the next one on the list. And you can just kind of see where things are, where the IV is currently relative to where it's been in the past. Okay.
Jim Hamby says he's found that the OptionVue alerts have been very helpful. Maybe you can point that out to people and maybe how to use them.
Sure. You can set up alerts, and we'll go back to our little Russell example here. This is kind of nice. So let's say I want to look at, I want to set up an alert here. I would go to, this is how I kind of do it if I have a position on already, is we'll click on the status button, okay? And let's just say I want to set up an alert for this entire position. So I highlight it in status, right-click on it, set a new alert, okay? And my action is going to be display a message, send me an email, make a sound. Okay, as far as send an email, action details, it's going to ask you what your email address is and all that kind of thing. Okay. But I'm not going to do that for now, but that's how you would set that up. OptionVue has to be open, for instance, on your laptop or home computer or anything like that, and running with real-time data for it to be prompted to send you a message, just so you know. But then you can have this trigger, and you can say I have an objective price. I want to say an objective gain. Say I have an objective gain of 25%. I want to be notified. Let's say I had objective percent gain. And let's say I wanted to have a, let's see, stop loss of 15%. Okay, you can say continuously between this date and time. The other cool thing is a delta. You can have a delta alert. I know that's something these guys would like to see. A lot of traders use. But let's just say I'm going to stick with that. So now my alerts are set up, and you'll get an email. If you're on your cell phone, your emails come to your cell phone. It'll make a noise or make a sound. Oh, geez, I was going to pick a sound. Here we go. You can see I don't use the alerts. Okay, and then I hit OK, so I have my alert set. Now what you can do is I can come in here, and let's just say I'm going to double click on this to open up a matrix, and then I can analyze this position. You can see these alerts are set up here already for you. So when it gets to this point, it's going to make a noise and send you an email. When it gets down here, it'll set an email and make a noise as well, or whatever, however you want to be alerted.
And Adrian said going to use alerts for options that are not in the status report.
Sure, absolutely. So let's just say you just wanted to, we can start, let's go back to the very beginning here and start from scratch. Let me jump into, let's say we're going to jump into Halliburton, for instance. And let's just say I wanted to set up an alert. Okay, new alert. You can set up your own alerts this way. You can type in your symbol, okay, and say, I want to say that, let me know when the last is greater than or less than this, and the, bid or ask or volume gets to here. It could be a position trade, and if you have a position on in here, you could do it that way as well. It doesn't matter if it's a debit or credit or butterfly or condor or whatever. It'll get the position, and then you can design the alert however you want to. So it can be very basic for as an underlying alert, or you can get as complex as you want to with multiple legged butterflies or strategies like that, and have a combined first objective gain or loss or delta and be alerted.
And just a reminder, OptionVue does have to be running with receiving data for those to work.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay,
the alert page, yep, right up here, the little bell right here. Upper right-hand corner. And then the other way I did that was from the status. In status, you can right-click on this. And another cool thing, too, is you can right-click on this and say, I want to send the closing trades for this particular position to the matrix, or set an alert for that specific position.
And we're kind of running out of time, but do you have a minute or two to talk about new features that are coming out on the short?
Yeah, let's do that real quick. Just want a lot of people have been interested. There's been a lot of talk about the earnings module that we offer, and you can see these are my earnings module tabs down here. We're actually coming out with kind of a condensed subscription of the earnings module, which we've never offered before. It's going to be coming out, and it comes with a couple mentoring sessions. It's going to be coming out in the next very soon, so that's all I know about it. I don't really know anything more about it. That's going to be coming out, but keep an eye out on our website. We'll be talking about that and promoting it soon. But what I wanted to show real quick is what every Monday I do this. OptionVue actually prompts you to do this if you have the earnings module. But this is what I was talking about with you a little bit earlier, Tom, is about how these are all parameters that you can set up yourself, different quality ratings. Basically what this means is I want to pull in things, prime movers. This has to do with straddles on right before an earnings announcement, and based on that, it's saying that on average I want to see things that returned 26% or more over the last 2 years if I put a straddle on it. Okay. Earnings pairs, that has to do with Visa and MasterCard is a real popular one. So Visa's coming out with earnings, but you're going to put a straddle on MasterCard. And by doing something like that, if you did that with these pairs, you would have, on average over the past 8 years, 2 years, 8 earnings seasons, it's returned 22% on average. So, and then minimum DVOs, minimum stock prices. So this pulls in a lot of candidates or things to consider if you're, into earnings plays and things like that. And what gives it even more of an edge is the modeling that we offer. Let's just look at something, Home Depot, really quick. And I was running some trade finders before this presentation just to have some things to talk about. But Home Depot is coming out with earnings. Let's actually see. I can click on this model button here, click on volatility, and it's coming out with earnings tomorrow. What OptionVue is doing is it's displaying this volatility cone, and it's showing you that it already knows volatility is going to drop 19% after the announcement. So it's already analyzing this for you. So if I come in here and just to demonstrate that model for you, just so you're doing it at the money straddle, and I analyze this, it's showing you it's already taken into account the event date, which is being modeled, T+1, taking into account the volatility crush, okay, showing you your break-evens if you were to buy a straddle, and even showing you down here what the options are being priced at right now. That's what these diamonds are saying down here. Okay, you could even then go to a price chart and select this, and it's going to show you your profit zone based on the volatility crush that's going to happen after the announcement. So these are some things that we've been working on a lot. And then another thing that people that are current OptionVue users knew that we had to come out with a new version right away a couple weeks ago, or maybe it wasn't even that long ago. But we're actively trying to get the modeling more accurate, the CEV factor, which is, what really helps OptionVue model what's going to happen if the price drops dramatically over different time frames. How is it going to affect volatility and the theoretical prices of options? Well, we've came out with a version trying to make it better, and it wasn't tested enough, so it's we took it out, put OptionVue back the way it was, and it's something that we're going to work on some more and try to introduce again. So always trying to develop things and get better modeling for you guys.
Speaking of modeling, Ron Bertino had a really nice presentation on weighted vega. I know Karen was at it a couple weeks ago. Do you know if there's any plans in OptionVue to add weighted vega?
You know what? And that actually, I was Paul had mentioned that earlier today when I spoke to him about, and he's asked the same thing. I'm actually going to get a hold of that video and watch it and present it to Len and Jim. I'm not sure if Karen did already. I think she might have mentioned it, but I need to follow up on that too and find out as well. And then what I'll do as well is, as I find out stuff and as I start addressing some of these questions in the forum, which I'm going to, jump on and start being more a part of, hopefully I can get a lot of answers to these questions for you guys.
Great. And I know PJ had a little bit longer question. Maybe we can get to that next time where you can work with him one-on-one to go over his question.
Yeah, he's on a trial right now, so I'll work with him.
Okay. All right, well, James, we're right at an hour, so a pretty good time to stop. Really appreciate all your time and the great demo and walkthroughs and the Q&A.
No, absolutely. I'm happy to do it and look forward to doing some more in the future. And, any questions anybody has or anybody doesn't have option that wants to get a trial, we don't take any credit card information. You can just download it through an email we send you, and we're here to help.
Great, and I'll add your email to the replay and make sure you have a login so you can get to the forums easy. And again, really appreciate it and look forward to next month. I forget who's presenting. It might be Jim, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thanks a lot. It's a great start, and look forward to more.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.